Mistress Death versus Beyonder, who would win? In a universe where even gods fear to exist, two entities stand beyond everything you know. On one side, the silent embodiment of the inevitable end. Mistress Death. A being older than time, untouched by creation, the ruler of all that dies. And on the other side, a force so powerful that reality itself bends to his will. Beyonder. A being from beyond the multiverse, who once claimed he was greater than everything. This is not just a fight. This is existence versus something beyond existence. So the question is, who is truly stronger? And if they clash, who survives? Mistress Death, the end of all things. Mistress Death is not just powerful, she is inevitable. She doesn't fight. She doesn't struggle. She simply exists, and everything eventually comes to her. She is the abstract embodiment of death across the Marvel multiverse. Every life, every star, every god, all paths lead to her. Even cosmic entities like eternity and infinity acknowledge her presence. Her power isn't about destruction. It's about finality. You cannot kill death, because she is what happens after everything dies. She exists outside time, beyond physical form, and cannot be erased. Even beings who control reality cannot remove the concept of death itself. Thanos, one of the most powerful beings in Marvel history, devoted his entire existence just to impress her, and even he could never truly control her. Mistress Death doesn't need to attack. Because in the end, she always wins. Because no matter how powerful a being becomes, no matter how many universes they conquer, no matter how long they survive, their story still has an ending. And that ending belongs to her. She is the silence after chaos. The stillness after destruction. The final chapter that no one can rewrite. And that's what makes her truly terrifying. Not because she chases you, but because she waits. Patient, eternal, unavoidable. And when your time finally comes, there is no battle left to fight. Beyonder, power beyond the multiverse. Now imagine a being who looks at the entire Marvel multiverse, and sees it as nothing more than a drop of water. That is the Beyonder. Originally introduced as a being from beyond the multiverse, the Beyonder was so powerful that he once stated he was greater than the entire Marvel multiverse combined. Let that sink in. He didn't just manipulate reality, he controlled it effortlessly. During the Secret Wars, he reshaped universes, erased and recreated beings, and toyed with cosmic entities like they were nothing. At his peak, the Beyonder's power exceeded even the combined forces of eternity, infinity, and other abstract entities. He wasn't bound by rules, logic, or even existence itself. Reality was his playground. And everything in it was beneath him. But here's the twist. The Beyonder, despite his unimaginable power, was curious, emotional, and flawed. He wanted to understand existence, which made him unpredictable. And sometimes, vulnerability hides in curiosity. Because when a being has everything, the only thing left to explore is meaning. And that search for meaning led him to interact with mortals, question his own purpose, and even reshape himself in ways no one expected. But that curiosity is dangerous. Because a being who doesn't fully understand limits is a being who might not have any. And when someone like the Beyonder decides to act without limits, entire realities don't just break. They disappear. Power comparison, inevitable versus omnipotent. Now this is where things get serious. Mistress Death represents a fundamental law of existence. She is not just powerful, she is necessary. Without death, the universe collapses into chaos. The Beyonder, on the other hand, has shown power that transcends even those laws. He has reshaped reality, erased beings, and existed outside the multiverse itself. So what happens when unstoppable force meets unavoidable end? If this battle is based on raw power, the Beyonder clearly dominates. His feats show control over reality at a level far beyond most cosmic entities. But power alone doesn't decide this fight. Because Mistress Death isn't just another entity. She is an abstract concept. You can destroy a universe, but can you destroy the idea of death? Even if the Beyonder erases everything, death still remains as a principle. However, there have been moments in Marvel where even abstract concepts were manipulated, replaced, or affected by higher-tier beings. And the Beyonder exists in that category. This means one terrifying possibility. The Beyonder may not just fight death. He may redefine what death even means. And if that happens, then death is no longer absolute. Because the moment a concept can be rewritten, it stops being eternal. But don't underestimate Mistress Death. She doesn't rely on strength, speed, or energy. She exists as a constant, a balance that even creation depends on. If death disappears, existence loses meaning. Life becomes endless, and endless life becomes a curse. So this battle isn't just power versus power. It's control versus necessity. Freedom versus inevitability. A god who can rewrite reality. Versus a force that defines the end of all realities. And that's what makes this clash truly terrifying. Because if either one falls, the entire structure of existence could collapse with them. Final verdict, who truly wins? So now, the ultimate answer. If Mistress Death faces most beings, she wins by default. Because everything eventually dies. But the Beyonder is not everything. He is something beyond everything. At his peak, the Beyonder has shown power that surpasses the multiverse, transcends abstract entities, and operates on a level where even concepts can be altered. And that changes everything. Because if you can control reality at its core, you can control the rules that define life and death. In a direct confrontation, Mistress Death cannot simply claim the Beyonder because he exists outside her natural domain. And if the Beyonder chooses to act, he has the power to overpower, manipulate, or even bypass the concept of death itself. But here's the deeper truth. Mistress Death represents the end of all stories. The Beyonder represents the one who can rewrite the story itself. And when a writer faces an ending, the ending no longer holds power. Even if death stands eternal, watching over all existence. The Beyonder stands beyond existence, where even eternity begins to lose meaning. So the final verdict is clear. The Beyonder wins. Not because death is weak, but because the Beyonder operates on a level where even death is no longer absolute. And in a battle between inevitability and transcendence, transcendence takes the crown. Because in the end, you cannot escape death. But the Beyonder was never bound by it to begin with. Check out my other videos for more epic character crossovers and battles. Thanks for watching, and stay happy and healthy.